Welcome to Mitten Music.
Season 4, Raw, Live, and Authentic. Episode 33 with the comedy rock band PleTHorA.
Good evening, Ryan.
Good evening, Jeff. Who is this we have tonight?
have the
This is awesome.
Masked Man.
Look at
Yes.
this. I only dream about putting together something like that every year. For years, since I was a kid, like I wanted to do a good Halloween costume, like over the top, something awesome. And then as I got older, cosplay is a thing, and people will cosplay, and you can see awesome creative outfits. Renaissance fairs, they dress up and they can get so authentic looking. Right? I always wanted to do something like that, but it takes so much time and effort. How the heck you made that thing yourself?
Yeah, it's made with pure Americonium ore, dug straight from beneath Washington, D.C.
All right.
But actually, it's just craft foam.
Sweet.
But I would say all of these outfits probably take me a week to make.
Dang, that's legit.
So
wow.
they're
I love it.
a bit of a long time. Let me see if I got the lights on. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
So there is the Freedomator from PleTHorA.
The Freedomator.
I did my eagle freak sound.
Yeah.
I forgot my soundboard.
Oh, yeah. If we would have thought that far ahead, we could have preloaded it in. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
The Freedomator.
So welcome to the show, and glad to have you on. One member of PleTHorA. And tell us a little bit about the band. What was this all about, PleTHorA?
So we are heroes that joined the earth at the beginning of its creation, and we saved the world from all evil across the land. And since there was nothing left to do, we froze ourselves in magical ice. And then we thawed out around 2010 when the band started playing music. And we saw that, the American culture at the time, like the MCU was a huge thing, and Epic Mealtime and your Guy Fieri and your Flavor Town. And so we decided to combine the medieval warriors of the past with the modern day superheroes of the time. And so that's where the inspiration for the outfit comes from.
All right.
So basically a superhero band that likes to have medieval and epic roots, or like D&D basically. It's like heavy metal LARPing, as we've been described by one radio station.
So what came first, the medieval or the old style thematics, or the comedy of the music? Or was it all like, I feel like you have so many layers to what you guys are doing. It's like, how did you even come up with this?
Well, so if you take out the band lore from the equation, the actual band started on like a couple months before Devil's Night for Halloween. We were just like, let's make a really silly, just a joke band, and we're gonna play this benefit show on Devil's Night that some local church group was hosting. It's supposed to be like a show to keep kids from going out and egging houses or something. And so we played 4 really silly songs. All of us were just dressed up. I was like a pirate. We had people in just funny outfits. Our drummer was dressed up like Slash. And we only had intentions of playing just one really dumb show, but somehow the 4 songs we played, the rest of the crowd was just like dying laughing. They were super into it, and we decided to keep it going. And
That's awesome.
around like a year or 2 into the band is when we started really like trying to flesh out what we wanted to be versus just a random assortment of characters on a stage.
In those first 4 songs, they were Celtic folk songs like you guys play.
So actually, no,
they weren't.
They actually weren't.
Ooh, okay.
So our band name, we say PleTHorA because we like to put the emphasis on the wrong syllables, but it's the word plethora. And so the idea is every song is sort of based in rock or metal, and then based on lyric content, we will change what style we want. So if it's a pirate song, we want the accordions and stuff.
Mhm.
If it's like a Viking song, we want it to have more symphonic, epic horns. Uh, we have a song called Cat Party, and party, it's gonna be like electronic music. So we've got like a dubstep breakdown in that one, in electronic music elements, and we've got basically songs in almost every genre you can think of. So if you don't like one song, you might like a different one because everything's different based
Yeah.
on what we think the feel of the song or the lyrics should make the other instruments. So that's why keyboards are crucial for our sound too,
Yeah.
because they can change to whatever we need between violins, horns, and
Mhm.
cool synth alien noises.
Yeah. But the underlying kind of, I feel like, is still that rock or metal kind of
Hmm.
bass, right? And then
Yeah.
you kind of flavor it based on the type of song you're singing. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I definitely haven't dug
Yeah,
deep
like we've
enough
got.
into the catalog because the several that I have listened to were some Celtic style, but I'm sure you have more than one of those songs. That's awesome. Looking to listen to
Yeah,
more.
so what kind of happened was we're writing all these songs, and our first album dropped in 2013. Our second album, we were working on it in 2015, and we were probably 80% done by 2016. And then the producer we were working with just kept having awful life experience things happening that kept stopping us from getting back in the studio. And suddenly we're finally back in the studio. And it's like 2020, and then COVID shut the studio down. And before you know it, there looks like it's been 7 years of recording our second album. So we had all of this time to write. We have like 80 original songs.
Wow.
And at that point, only one album had been out, but we were playing songs live that no one could find anywhere.
Yeah.
And so it got to the point where I was like, wow, we have enough songs for different themed albums for all future releases. So when the quarantine happened, I wrote an album called Quarantunes, and I figured if this is an apocalyptic setting, we wouldn't have power, so let's do an acoustic album.
Oh,
So
that's cool. Yeah.
we did an acoustic album to celebrate our 10-year anniversary, especially since the album that took 7 years to make is taking so long to come out. So then after that, after Quarantunes dropped, I just said screw it, and I went to my producer, grabbed the hard drive with all of the tracks on it, and took it to a new studio. And I also finished it at my house. And then we dropped that album, which also had a big mix of all of our song styles on it.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
finally, right after that, we were going to do another album with all of our rock banger songs. But then we ended up getting the Michigan Renaissance Festival after I've been trying to get in there for like 10 years.
Oh,
So we decided we should do all of our folk songs that we had ready to record, put those all on one album, and then have that to release at the Renaissance Fair season. So we dropped Folk It Up about 2 years ago, like this week, I think, maybe a week ago.
Yeah.
And that crowd loved it. So the Renaissance gigs are kind of what's paying the bills and giving us most of our money to do all the more stuff with our projects.
gotcha.
So
This is
the
awesome.
album we're currently working on is all of our heaviest material. So it's going to be called kazoo metal. And it features none of the folk material.
I'm excited.
Although I guess
Well-
you could say the Charlie Dan we do a parody of The Devil Went Down to Georgia called The Devil Went Up to Michigan, where I'd destroy the devil in a kazoo battle instead of a fiddle. So I
Nice.
guess that one's kind of folky. So that's the closest thing to a folk song on the upcoming release. So kazoo metal will probably be out hopefully December, January-ish, somewhere in the winter time frame.
So are the two singles that you've released this year, Printers and Mashed Potatoes, are those going to be on the album then, I assume?
Yeah, those are the first singles from that release.
Yep. Okay.
I just hoped maybe we were going to be closer to October or November, but the Renaissance Festival takes up a month and a half of weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
talk a little bit about that. If people don't know what the Renaissance Festival is, I mean, maybe people know what the Renaissance Festival is, but like the one, I mean, I grew up not that far from where you guys are doing that. And tell a little bit about that, and then how you guys got in the door there, and what that looks like for you.
well, I've always been like a big fantasy nerd. If you couldn't tell by my outfit, and like Lord of the Rings, that type of thing. It's always been my favorite. And I've been going to the Michigan Renaissance Festival since like 2009, I want to say, is when I discovered that it was a thing. But it's kind of evolved basically into a Comic Con for fantasy genres. Because I mean, yeah, the people on cast are in Renaissance outfits, but there's people from video game characters to
Hmm.
movies and books and stuff. So
Oh, that's quite evolved because I mean, I went there. I mean, a couple decades ago, several decades. It was all pretty much the medieval theme through and through. So that's interesting that that's kind of morphed a little bit.
yeah, not lots of people in pirates. There's Viking weekends. There's Highland and Scottish and Irish weekends. So there's all sorts of themed weekends for different uh, dress up attire. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'll adjust my stage costume based on the weekend. But if it's really hot, I don't care. I just wear whatever. But that's not going to make me get heat stroke.
That's right.
But this last weekend was great, so I got to wear my pirate coats and stuff.
That's awesome.
So what is that setup for you guys at the Renaissance Festival? How much you were just talking before we got onto the show that you play quite a lot of sets on a weekend. So what's that? You guys playing multiple? I assume multiple sets in a day.
Yeah, it's 4 30-minute sets, usually about an hour and a half apart. There's two other acts on the same stage as us with a 15-minute changeover. So I think we play like 10, 12, 15, 2:30, and 4:30. And then at the end of the day, there's this thing we do called Pub Sing that starts at 6 o'clock, where all of the bands from the entire festival come up on stage. They'll play one song, and then at the very end, every band who wants to comes up on stage, and we all play one song together called "Health
Yeah.
to the Company," which is sort of like a big closing song for the day.
Okay. That is
So
awesome.
it's
Interesting.
very long days, but it's very
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you're just playing on the weekends then? I assume.
Yeah, it's open Saturdays and Sundays as well as Labor Day, and then the last weekend, the Friday, it's also open.
Okay.
It,
And then the reason the way we got this gig, we actually tried out to be there, I think 7 or 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and they loved it, and we were all set to go. And then for some reason, the communication disappeared, so it didn't
Hmm.
end up happening. But I befriended, I don't know if you guys know what an uilleann pipe is. If you've ever seen the
Mhm.
movie Braveheart, it's sort of like the pretty sounding bagpipe. It's
okay.
an Irish
Oh, okay.
bagpipe. And I heard that sound from a band called Raven Song, who later changed their names to the Dizzy Drifters after some member changes. And I was like, I need that instrument on one of my songs. So I made friends with the uilleann pipe player. And eventually in 2019, I actually joined the Dizzy Drifters so I could play at Ren Fair. He ended up recording a song called "The Last Viking" with us, which is on that album that took 7 years to make. And then um, COVID made the Renaissance Festival kind of shut down that year. That was going to be my debut year playing with them there. But um, the guy who played uilleann pipes, his name was Jamie. His carpal tunnel got too bad, and he had Lyme disease and a whole bunch of other just health problems culminate all at
Oh,
once. So he kind of retired and basically put in a good word for us to get their spot at the pub, the Guinness pub where we play.
okay.
And our first season there was 4 years ago. We only played 5 dates as like a fill-in band, but everybody loved it. We were playing dumb songs about Captain Crunch, and just this whole crowd is just chanting "Crunch, Crunch, Crunch." So now we're like one of a lot of the people their favorite band playing on the
That's awesome.
stage. So I plan to be back there every season, unless I don't know I blow up or something.
Well,
Too big for that
it
stage.
sounds like it's not. It sounds like it's difficult to get into the Ren Fair, at least as a scheduled act, right? I mean, is it? It must be that the same bands are coming back every year because they've built up the reputation and they keep asking, and there's not a whole lot of room to expand out for new artists that might also fit the bill, right? Is that why it's difficult?
It definitely used to be that way. I would say it's the easiest now because a lot of the older musicians that were there have either just they got old, they retired, or they died, or there's just been like a changing of the guard type of situation there. There's new entertainment directors, so a lot of the people from the last like year 2000 to 2020, a lot of those have all kind of moved on, and now there's a newer bunch of bands coming in. I mean, there's still definitely some left from those earlier years, but now is probably the easiest time because
Hmm.
our stage has a revolving door of other acts with us because they're having trouble finding enough musicians that are able to do the entire run.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I could see that because that is a big commitment. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite place to play though, besides like the machine shop in Flint.
Cool. Yeah,
Mm.
machine shop's cool.
That's like the best venue ever. The owner Kevin is like the perfect promoter owner.
Yep.
He really like helps out the local bands. He doesn't do that stupid pay to play thing that a lot of promoters will do, especially to open up for a national band or something like that.
Yeah.
So we've played some pretty big shows there. We played with Psycho Stick a lot, comedy metal band.
Okay.
Necrogoblicon. We got to open for Avatar, Hammerfall there.
Yeah. This is
That's cool.
We're also members of Green Jello,
Oh,
the
what?
comedy punk rock
Yeah,
band.
I mean, that's like precursor to Tool, man.
Yeah, so here's a funny story about that. So I actually played in Green Jello this last Friday night.
Not with Danny Carey.
We wrote one of their songs. It's called the Drinking Song. And so the way Green Jello has kind of worked in the last 15 years is that Bill Manspeaker, the front man, he lives in California and he flies out to regional tours every weekend. So he'll live in California, I think Monday through Thursday. Sometimes they'll do Thursday shows. They'll do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I think Sunday in like Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and then he'll fly back home. And so what he would do is he would hire out local bands to be his backing band
Oh.
for those regional areas. Now he has more of an actual touring group, but
Mm.
all of the people that he trusts to not mess up the songs are still allowed to come out and play. And so Friday, I went out there to get his guest vocals that are going to be on one of our songs called Road Rage on the new Heavy album. So I recorded
Cool.
his vocals at the venue and then got some shots for a music video with Bill. And then we played the show at like 10:30, and there's just hundreds of pool noodles on stage and inflatables. And he's probably one of the best frontmen of all time that I've ever seen. Nobody can command a crowd quite like Bill Manspeaker. And it's just a wild, ridiculous, fun time. And the amount of stage chaos is unparalleled.
So, Jeff,
Like they brought this 30-foot Ronald McDonald inflatable to the gathering of the Juggalos last week, and somebody put Juggalo makeup on its face, and now they're setting it up outside every venue that they play at.
Wow.
So the reason I ended up even joining those guys is a buddy of mine who used to be a promoter around Michigan in general. He booked Green Jello, had us play because we were a natural fit for the
yeah,
comedy aspect. And then Bill Manspeaker sees me wearing all this stuff. And he's like, what are you and what do you play? And I said, I do guitar and kazoo. And he shouts, Kazoo, you're in the band. And I'm like, okay. I'm kind of like, this dude's a legend. Like, he just told me to play with them. So I played with them that night for the first time. I just did like, I knew the song sort of. So I just I played kazoo with them and did like backup vocals.
Heck yeah.
And then
What a riot.
he asked us afterwards if we wanted to be one of his like franchise bands, as we call them. And the ongoing joke is that Green Jello has like over 1,000 band members, which is technically true.
I didn't really
Yeah.
realize.
I don't remember which number I am.
Yeah, I definitely haven't paid very much attention since after 2000, like the last 25 years. So I didn't even know that they were like it's gotten crazy. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, there was I think there was a hiatus period from like 2000 to 2010 or
Yeah,
so.
that's probably when I like it just fell off my mind and I didn't ever
Because
think about them again.
yeah, I started following them again around like 2015, I want to say, and then all the franchise bands. So there's the album. I was mentioning a song that I wrote for them. So like 2 years ago, Green Jello dropped an album called The Garbage Band Kids, and what Bill wanted to do was let any of these franchise bands, we were allowed to write a song and submit it to the record label. So they went through Cleopatra Records, who did like Motorhead and stuff.
Okay, cool.
And we submitted our song called The Drinking Song. I wrote it with my bassist, Anthony, and I wrote it with Bill as well. And it was the first song accepted by the record label to be on the album.
Wow.
And I think they wanted 15 songs because there was a lot of songs that got axed.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we like just ours being the first one was like the coolest thing to me, getting it accepted.
That is cool.
So we play that one at the Renaissance Festival because it's like a drinking punk rock song with lots of kazoos on it.
For sure.
Yeah. Fitting for sure.
And like it's also crazy to me because the album also has Weird Al on it and the Trailer Park Boys and like Suicidal Tendencies, I think, is on it, and Fishbone.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I'm like, my name is in the credits with these legends.
Yeah, that's
so
really cool.
But I'm like, I need to be up there. I need to pop off like that.
So Jeff, earlier I was mentioning something about Tool. So Bill Manspeaker introduced kind of Danny Carey and Maynard, and they kind of were all in Green Jello together in the late 80s or whatever. And I think Maynard went to live with Bill Manspeaker for a little while in his apartment because he didn't have any place to stay in the area or whatever. So that's how I know him.
So he had in California, he had like a warehouse, maybe.
Yeah, that's what
kind of like his own.
That's what I thought.
His own venue.
Yeah.
Where he let all these bands kind of get their start. So like Tool got started in this venue that Bill ran, and so did Rage Against the Machine, I believe. And I feel like there's some more, but those were the two biggest ones that popped off out of that scene.
Yeah.
And I know Maynard was in the Three Little Pigs song, and Danny Carey was the drummer for a little bit. So,
and that was on the radio. I remember hearing that in the radio in the early 90s.
Yeah, there was I think they were also the first band to get like all of their music videos, or a music video for every song on an album.
Oh, great.
And most of them were claymation.
Yeah.
So the entire album, there was a video that went with all of them.
That's cool. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Which I would love to do that, but it's so much work.
Yeah. That is a lot for sure. So how do you guys come up with the songs? Like I would think so much more the lyrics, right? So you guys are a comedy. You guys are coming up. How do you even? How's that process start? Is just, hey, let's come up with this idea, and then you guys just start to work out the words out that, or?
Man, it's kind of all over the place. Sometimes I don't know. I'll just get a melody in my head, and it works. I got a list of 100 ideas for something funny, and sometimes I'll go through the list and I'll try and see if something pops into my head. Like, for example, I've been wanting to write a song about the Killdozer. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know about the
Yep.
Killdozer, but
From the guy from Wisconsin.
I was like, how can I make an epic, funny song about Killdozer? Because it's like one of the greatest American stories ever. And I've been sitting on that idea for like 5 years, and then just literally 3 days ago, I had a melody pop into my head in a chorus or something, and so I started writing that down. Or after a show, something will pop into my head. But it's always like trying to find that magic moment of when the music lines up with the words,
Yeah.
and
Right.
sometimes it takes me 2 seconds, and sometimes it could be a couple years before
Yeah.
I come up with the right
Dang.
the mix.
That's cool. I like that.
And I like
Yeah.
a lot of one of my favorite bands is the pirate metal band Ailstorm. So
Hailstorm.
I've been trying to come up with like pirate ideas and Viking ideas or puns on words. Like we have a song called Yalhalla. It's about redneck Vikings, and that one was partially inspired by this band I like called Aether Realm. They're from North Carolina. They're like folky melodic death metal, but they mix a few different genres. Sometimes they'll do funny, but sometimes they're serious. And they have a song called Redneck Vikings from Hell.
Mm.
But I was like, we need a song called Yalhalla about redneck Vikings. And so I got him to feature on the song.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's in the music video. I went out to the Sanctuary in Detroit when he was playing, and we shot this video in like this creepy back alley at 2 a.m. in Detroit.
Yeah. Now you're
So yeah,
talking my language.
I love trying to get people who were either inspirations or people who I like on the songs, because it helps with promotion, but also it's really cool getting people I want to work with in my own songs.
Do you like Oakley Dokley?
I thought their gimmick was fun.
That's kind of more. I
was not a big fan of their music, but
I thought it was just hilarious.
they're not even around anymore. I don't.
No, I thought it pretty flash in the pan, but it was like one of those things you kind of see. You're like, wait, what is that? Ned Flanders? Like what?
Yeah, I mean, I would have played with them. I would have went and seen them.
Yeah, it's just
I like for me for metal, like I like heavy, but it needs to also be equally melodic.
fair enough.
I like a mix of harsh vocals and big vocal harmony. So bands like Trivium
Yep.
are a perfect example of people who can blend heavy and melodic. Same with like Avatar. Maybe your verses are screamed, but then you got that big catchy hook for a chorus that's clean vocals. And then maybe there's a big nasty breakdown, but it's immediately followed by a melodic guitar solo or a synthwave part or something.
I dig it. That's
So,
cool. I like it.
That's how I also write songs. Is I like a contrast of heavy and soft, or even if I'm doing a ballad, like we want to do a power ballad where verses are slower like an actual ballad, but then the chorus kicks in and it drives.
Yeah.
So even if we're not going full heavy, there's still some sort of contrast or dynamic change that works.
So who's all the other members of the band, and how did you guys really come together and have you guys all kind of stuck there, or some people cycled in and out over the years?
So me and Anthony, the bassist, are the two only full original members of the band.
Okay.
Our drummer Carl, who also goes by Captain Dammit, he joined in I think year 2 or 3, and he's the drummer that's featured on every album. So in a way, he's kind of the original, even though like when we that first show I was talking about was just meant to be a one-off joke.
Yeah.
And after a year of just playing random benefit shows and maybe a battle of the bands here and there, me and Anthony were like, oh, we could actually take this somewhere. And so we sat down with all the other members, and they just kind of wanted to do it just for fun. They didn't really want to go anywhere with it. So they were like, yeah, we'll stay in the band until you find replacements. And so we've gone through a bit of a lineup change throughout time, and for a while it was just me, Carl, and Anthony
Mm.
for like a 5-year period. And then in 2020, we got our other guitarist, Tyler. So he's been with us for almost, about 5 years. And then his buddy, Andrew, he plays keyboard. So he joined us, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. And this lineup is probably our most solid and best lineup we've ever had.
Cool.
And then our drummer that plays with us at the Renaissance Festival, her name is Jess. She was in that Dizzy Drifters band I was mentioning earlier.
Mm.
When
Okay.
Dizzy Drifters wasn't coming back to Ren Fair, I was like, hey, we need a Ren Fest drummer because our full kit drummer, Carl's got 2 kids and can't do every single day, every weekend for a month and a half.
Yeah.
He also doesn't really like playing a cajon, a little box drum. So, and then when we do full electric shows, Jess will come in and kind of be like our Slipknot extra percussionist,
Sweet.
just like hitting random stuff and helping with stage chaos. We have 2 or 3 people. I'm gonna call them our live props or stunt guys. They come up on stage in costumes for every song and they hype the crowd, jump around. Maybe we do this thing called a mash pit that goes with our mashed potato song. So I get as many people of our stunt guys in potato outfits and have them run in the pit and start getting people moving.
You guys are awesome.
It's cool.
So those guys help with our crazy stage show. We like the chaos.
That is so
If one
cool.
shoots blood into the crowd, we're shooting food.
Are you guys typically? I mean, the Ren, like you mentioned, the Ren festival is a little different. But if you're playing at the machine shop, you're all in costume.
Yep, I'll be in all of this, and the rest of the band will be in their outfits as long as it's not like 90 degrees inside.
Yeah. Right.
I'm the one that toughs through it, but some of the other guys, they start shedding layers a little quicker than I would like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's got to be a lot. I mean, you're playing. It seems like you guys got a lot of energy in your show. So to have all that extra gear on too, it's probably adds a little bit of complexity to the.
It's a little warm, but I don't think it's as bad as what it looks. Because I mean, it's just mostly just maybe, I don't know, this much craft foam.
Yeah.
And then I seal it with Elmer's glue, which lets you paint on it with acrylics. And then I use hot glue and all that to put it together. So as long as I don't leave it in a car that's hot out, it won't melt.
Yeah, for sure.
Because sometimes that was an issue where I'd forget I had props in the car that were hot glued together, and then it would be 90 out, so it would be 120 in the car.
Yikes!
And then boop, there goes my prop.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, hot day.
Rest in
Summer's been
peace,
hot.
old prop.
Sure.
I need to build we used to have this one, it was called the War Toaster. And I had one of our older keyboardists was an engineering student at the time in college. And he sort of built this, was almost like a trebuchet, except it was these 2 industrial rubber bands pulled down to a foot pedal. And we would stick bagels and waffles in the rubber band, and when you pressed down on the foot pedal, it would shoot it into the crowd.
Sweet.
And so I built a cage around it that made it look like a toaster, and I put orange lights inside and a fog machine so it looked like it was toasting something. And then when it was ready to fire, we would shoot the bagels out.
That is cool.
And this one guy takes the bagel and he goes and gets it lacquered, so it was like a petrified mass of bread that could not be molded. It couldn't mold. And he came back to a different show and we all signed it.
Oh, I was wondering where you're going with that. I'm like, okay, so what do you do with it then?
I've also signed 2 cans of tuna for some reason. We used to do this bit where I would ask if anyone in the crowd was single, and then we'd throw out craft singles to everybody that said yes. And this lady had we signed like 10 pieces of cheese.
Ooh.
And so this lady comes back like 3 years later, my hair and beard was a bit different, so she didn't quite recognize me. She's like, "I know you from somewhere," and I was like, "Maybe you've seen me play." And she's like, "Oh, yep, I've got your cheese in my freezer
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
with the signature."
So cool.
We do all sorts of dumb stuff. Like we have a song called Gravy, and we wanted to make a music video where our fans were drinking gravy shots out of our glasses. So we played a green Jello show, and we were telling all the people in the crowd, if you come back to our booth, if you take a shot of gravy, we'll give you the shot glass for free. So it's a PleTHorA shot glass. And so we made this awesome music video where everybody's just taking shots of gravy.
Delicious.
that's awesome. That's cool.
So what do you got?
I love gravy.
Do you got some shows coming up next? I know that you said the Ren Fair is still going on currently, depending on when this episode releases. But what have you got coming up?
Yeah, it runs until the last September weekend. So I have maybe 3 or 4 shows in the works after this, but we're also still trying to figure out when we're dropping the album because we want to do a release show for that. So it's kind of hard to plan that until we know when.
Yep.
We might have something around Halloween, but October is kind of a break month for us. We'll be finishing drum tracking, and then hopefully once drums are done, we'll be right at mixing for the next album. So hopefully December, January. I believe Black Friday we might be playing in Ann Arbor, and the night before Thanksgiving, I believe we're playing with Stone Clover at the Loving Touch in Ferndale.
Okay.
But we're still getting information and finalizing it, so it hasn't been announced yet. But sneak peek, I guess.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
cool.
Exactly.
You guys are busy. Sweet.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and where'd you guys produce the album?
So there was another comedy band. It's just called the Paco Higdon Band. We started playing with those guys just around in various bars, but they're like a comedy rock, maybe a little bit of punk thrown in, but they're really funny dudes. They haven't done a whole lot lately, but Paco in 2020 opened a studio called Tuxedo Avenue, and that's in Detroit-ish, Roseville, like Gratiot Avenue area.
Mm-hmm.
And since I learned how to start doing the tracking and producing myself, like I'm not a pro, but I can do the recording and the editing, but I'm not a pro at the mixing part. So we'll track drums at his studio because I don't want to buy 1,000 drum mics and edit drums. Once the drums are done, he sends it back to me. I'll track guitars. I'll have like the bassist over. I'll do keys, or sometimes I have the keyboard over. Other guitarist sometimes lays down his parts, but I write a lot of the songs too, so like I can really do most of the work, and I'm the singer. So
Yeah.
once it's all done, then I'll send it back to Paco's studio. There's a guy named Josh, and he'll mix it. Paco will do a little bit of mixing too, so they'll mix master and send back to me. And so this new system not only saves us a bunch of money letting me do all the work at my house, but I can crank out songs way faster than that stupid 7-year period where we were not getting stuff done, because we've dropped an album. Our 3 of our albums were all after 2020.
Yeah, isn't it funny?
Right.
So it's kind of crazy where you're like, man, too many years passed. We're basically playing catch up. So the next album, heavy bangers, kazoo metal. We're going to do another folk metal album called Ragna Rock.
It's cool.
For the Renfest crowd. And then we're going to do a rock banger album. And then we've got a space album with lots of 80s synthesizers that we want to do. And it's like, I got all the songs written. We just got to learn them and record them, basically. But
yeah. Wow.
We're turning out music way quicker.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's really cool.
Good stuff.
And then the song that's dropping tomorrow at the Renaissance Festival, we play that one song. It's called Diggy Diggy Hole. It was a song that a YouTuber made, I believe, that got really popular because he liked to sing it while he was playing Minecraft.
Fair enough.
And then a dwarven metal band called Windrose did a cover of it and made it metal, and it was epic, and it kind of blew up even further from that point. I've seen a few other covers of it as well from less popular artists. Originally, I wasn't planning to cover it, but we've had so many people at the Renaissance Festival that wanted us to do it that we decided we're going to give them that this year since they're not really going to get a new folk album.
Yeah.
And so they get that new single tomorrow sent to their inboxes from the email list, and the video will drop at 10 o'clock.
All right. Sweet.
Very cool. Looking
Everybody
forward.
needs to look for that. And it's PleTHorA, right? That's how you guys
Yeah.
pronounce it.
Sounds
Apologize
more
for saying it
epic.
wrong
It
for
does.
so long.
It does. I love it.
I mean, it's the same word. You can interchange it. I won't be upset.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, well, thank you so much, man. That was great. That was some good stuff. You have the
Yeah, this is
stories.
awesome.
That's great.
I
Appreciate
got
it.
plenty of those, I'm sure.
Yeah, looking forward to catching you live for one of the we'll make a point to come out and see you guys. That sounds like an awesome time.
For sure. Yeah, people got to go check out the Ren Fest for the next month and check you guys out there. Or like you said, later in the year, you might have some other shows coming up, and definitely the new album dropping soon. So.
Oh, and we got a comic book coming.
Oh, super cool. Love it.
The guy who's doing our album cover, normally I do all of that, but I'm not very good at the comic book art style. And we've been wanting a comic book to go along with the superhero thing for a long time. And a guy I went to high school with just happens to also do comic books for some of his livings.
Cool.
And so we're doing a collaboration with them. It's just taking a little longer than anticipated, but it's in the works. And we're hoping that will coincide with the release of the next album, because the next album will also have comic book themed artwork on the cover.
Okay.
Very cool.
Perfect.
So check out.
Go ahead. No,
I was just say check out PleTHorA. Check out the comic book. Check them out at Ren Fair. Check them out live. Check them out streaming. Can they buy physical music? Do you guys have CDs available or records or anything?
Yeah, we have a website. It's just PleTHORAmusic.com or PleTHORAmusic.com. You can get all of our CDs. We have 4 of them out now. We've got new singles coming. We've already released those 2 singles, Mashed Potatoes and Printers. You can find those anywhere on all streaming. All of our albums are on all streaming sites as well. And all of our merchandise is on the website. Yeah, you find us YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, website, all that fun stuff.
Cool. Thanks again for joining us, Matt. That was awesome. Can't wait to see you.
Thanks, Freedom Meter.
Anytime.
All right. Take care.
If you like this episode, check out all of our episodes on your favorite streaming platform, or even our website, themittenmusic.com. Or if you want short clips of our episodes, check out our socials. We got Facebook, we have Instagram, we got TikTok, and YouTube. We're all over the social media game. Make sure to check out some live Michigan music or listening on your favorite streaming platform.